And the parliament there has once again failed to vote on proposals, including a delay to the planned election. This comes after legislators postponed a vote on Monday on how to handle the fallout from delayed national polls. The election was planned for the 24th of December and was meant as part of a wider push to end a decade of chaos and violence in Libya. This was to be achieved by electing a new president and a parliament with a national legitimacy. The delay was occasioned by disputes over the election rules. Candidates, political factions, and politicians are divided over how long the election should be delayed. Leaders are also squabbling over whether Prime Minister Moammar Gadhafi's interim government of national unity can continue in the meantime. Well, for more analysis into that story, let's bring in Dr. Mustafa Faturi, a Libyan academic. He joined us live via Skype from Paris. Thank you so much for joining us. Just speak to us about this December 24th to January 24th and how proposals to delay the presidential elections for up to 6 months now. What's informing these jitters about the presidential election in Libya? And what do you think is the missing link here?
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. The whole episode and the chaotic discussions, as well as the proposed delay by the parliament, actually, rested in two things, two causes. If we would like to describe them. One is that there are legitimate concerns over the election rules and laws passed over the last 2 months. And there are behind the scenes, that's the second one, barrel of the cause of discussion, the idea that there are forces in the political scene in Libya, inside the parliament as well as outside the parliament, who want certain names being banned from running for the presidential elections, despite the fact that some of those names, such as Saif al-Islam Moammar Gadhafi and General Khalifa Haftar, were rejected at first, but the court decided that they are legitimate contestants and they cannot be denied the opportunity to contest the elections. What the parliament has been postponing the debate now until next week, and even the idea of proposing a new date. I mean, the Libyan people are not happy even about January, next year. They will be even more angry if the parliament goes ahead and decides to delay the elections until 6 months later or something. Yes.
What do you see as the absolute minimum that must be in place for the presidential election to be held successfully in Libya?
Well, first thing is security. We haven't been having a great deal of security, even in the capital itself. We have seen some, mobilization of armed militias inside the capital over the last 2 weeks, as well as a month ago, and when they attacked the residence of the Presidential Council Chairman, Mr. Mnifi, and that's one thing. The second thing, there have to be some kind of agreement, among the different political actors, domestic as well as international, that the elections must take place and the laws are accepted that govern those elections are accepted by everybody, and then a government that's capable and clean enough from corruption to run such elections. And we have seen over the last few days the parliament actually demanding that the UK ambassador be expelled from Libya, declaring her persona non grata, because she said the UK or the United Kingdom's government supports the continuation of the government of Abdulhamid al-Dbeiba, despite being involved in various corruption acts over the last 3 and 4 months, up to its neck. Actually, Mr. Dbeiba himself is not clean. So it's the minimum is security first, and then some kind of agreement on the laws that govern the balls, as well as that everybody will accept the outcome of the elections. Otherwise, I can't see elections taking place even in 6 months' time.
Mustafa, there's so much at play here, but it's also just like you said, it sounds very much like generally the Libyan people want this to be resolved and they want this to come to an end. But also what we know is that the interim government of Prime Minister Abdulhamid Dbeibe's mandate was to end when the elections happened. But now with all this that's happening, what's the way forward for this government now?
Well, that's one of the sources of contention and confusion, and that's why the parliament is very angry at the British ambassador when she said, in a statement that the UK government, as I mentioned before, continues to support the government of Mr. Dbeibe, despite the fact that the mandate of the government, as you mentioned, supposed to have ended in 24th of December, but it's one of the unclear points of debate inside the parliament and inside the country. Indeed, the thing is, I think this government is not qualified enough, it's not clean enough, it's not trusted enough, does not enjoy the legitimacy it had last March to run and organize the elections in an objective manner. Can the parliament actually solve this problem and have a new government in a few days' time and organize elections as soon as possible? I really doubt that. So the only option is probably to have the parliamentarian oversight committee to continue its work and include oversighting the election itself away from the government. And that's the only way out of this mess.